I think I've just about said all I need to, except I would add to my broad definition of globalization as involving increasing connectivity, increasing reflexive global consciousness, by saying that I think that in one sense, globalization is a self-limiting phenomenon. By that I mean that if you incorporate the concept of glocalization into one's theory or approach to globalization, one will see that anything that develops and is transferred or flows, to use a very popular anthropological term, to another part of the world, it has to adapt to the place where it went to. So this form of adaptation, if something cannot be adapted to a place, it can't go there. People may, in Ritz's unfortunate term, globalize and sort of inflict something on people who don't want to have it. I don't believe that's possible, actually, except in the most violent forms of terroristic, beyond terroristic implantation, if that's the right term. So in that particular way, if you exclude the reasonable conceptual promise of globalization, then you have no alternative but to say that the world, things have to adapt to the place to which they're moving. And I might say here that, just to close with a little vignette, a little personal experience I had, about 4 or 5 years ago, I flew into Narita Airport, the airport of Tokyo, of course, and there on the front of the Japan Times it said, "Glocalization can save us." What do they mean? Well, the irony partly is, of course, because the very word glocalization, from many people's point of view, came from Japanese for indigenization. That was a literal translation of kakakuku. But I adapted, and so did a geographer, ought to be a very well-known geographer called Swindigu, who's written a great deal about glocalization. It was very ironical to go into a country where one got the idea from it derived in a sense from the old Japanese saying, man can only grow rice on his own land, meaning that every form of rice, however universal it is within the Japanese sphere, every little farm, every little production of rice will be a tiny bit different. So that's the way, or it's usually said to be the way, in which for a long time, until the great economic crisis in Japan 10 or 15 years ago, that Japan was so successful because it put so much effort by spying and touring and adapting, finding out